So what is this tool that I have in my hand? This is probably one of the most important tools as far as setting your carburetors up on a tunnel ram. So this piece that you see right here, the upper piece, this is a piece that's made by Edelbrock, believe it or not, and it's called a uni-sync. And back in the early 50s, it wasn't uncommon to see flathead Ford V8s with multiple Stromberg carburetors or Holley 97s, whatever the case was. And when you run multiple carburetor setups back then, they had this tool that would balance the carbs and make them work in sync. So I haven't seen but maybe 1 or 2 videos where people talk about using these on YouTube, but what I have found is went to your favorite mail order place, Summit, Jegs, it doesn't matter, ordered a carburetor hat. You know, I chose aluminum because it's easier to work with, and this one is made by KRC, and this is really top quality and it's fairly inexpensive, so you can check that out. And then I ordered the Edelbrock uni-sync, and what I did, you can see it's kind of crude on the inside. I just cut a hole in the top of it that was big enough to allow for this. And how this works, when you go to crank your engine up, you want to leave your throttle linkage unhooked. Okay, you'll get it idling, get the engine idling, and you will put this over top of the carburetor. Okay, and this thing has a little valve in here that you can turn, and you want to turn that valve in until this little ball floats up about middle ways. Okay, once you get that, you put it on the other carburetor. Okay, and what you do, this is after you have already adjusted your mixture screws on the metering blocks with the vacuum gauge. So this is actually for setting your idle with the set screw on the throttle, on the throttle blade. So when you put this on the other carburetor, you're going to find that it may be down here. So what you do is you take your screwdriver, very slightly open the throttle until that ball comes back to the middle point where it was on the other carburetor, and keep going back and forth until they're both exactly the same. Now what that will do is you're making sure that the carburetors are in sync with each other, because that's the most important thing about this whole deal, in my opinion, as far as drivability. Now as far as power, I don't really think it makes that much difference, but as far as drivability, it's important, and here's why. If you have a carburetor that's doing the majority of the work, this one is going to get into the different circuits at a different time compared to this carburetor. So you're going to have 4 cylinders seeing 2 different scenarios, and that's not ideal. You want these things to be like synchronized swimmers. You want them acting exactly the same, and that's what this does. Because, you know, a lot of people, you can adjust your throttle by looking at the transfer slot and making sure that you have just about 30 thousandths exposed, but that's only what the eye can see. The carburetor will flow different air because of the tolerances involved in the manufacturer of the carburetor. You know, who's to say that one of those little transfer slots is now down a little bit further than the other one? And so by using this simple tool that can be made relatively cheap, you can buy this piece right here for around 35 bucks, I think. And like I said, this has got about $25 here, and you can attach it with screws or just use a really good silicone. I used Permatex, the right stuff, which works really well. But yeah, this is the key of getting the carburetors in balance with each other.